Hey guys, this is Luke here with another Biased Gamer video. Today I'm going to be doing a tank review of the Tier 4 Japanese heavy tank, the Type 95 Heavy. I've been playing this tank for a little bit now. I'm just starting my grind down the Japanese heavy tank line, so this is going to be part one of a 7-part series. We're going to be going over each heavy tank as I unlock it. Um, so yeah, that being said, let's dig right in. So the Type 95 Heavy. If I were to use one word to describe this tank, I would say acceptable. This tank is an acceptable tank. And there's a couple of reasons for that. With it fully, 100% crew and everything upgraded, this tank can do pretty good. Uh, let's see. So, yeah, an average 630 damage. Obviously I've only played 10 battles in it, but overall I'd say I've done pretty good. As you can see, I've done 1300 damage in this tank in only 10 battles in one of the games, so um, it can have good games. At the same time, though, you can get obliterated. This is not a heavy tank in the sense that other heavy tanks are. And the reason because of that is, well, we'll get into the stats. So at 430 hit points at tier 4, it's pretty decent. Um, I don't think it stands out that much. I could be wrong. We'll look at the DW2 from the Germans. Yeah, so it's got more HP than most of the other tier 4 tanks, I'd say. Um, but it's kind of the same sense in the Tiger 1 in that it might have all this HP, but it has no armor. So at 35 millimeters of frontal armor, this tank's HE will penetrate itself. The average penetration for this tank's HE is 38, so that's, part of the gun we'll get to in a minute. So in stock configuration with like a 50% crew, a lot of you new guys, this tank is pretty terrible. But I mean, to be fair, most tanks at this range are pretty bad. That being said, this tank definitely isn't. Its stock gun isn't so bad because if you just use HE on it, it's essentially the same as this gun. But its best penetration is going to be with its gold with 90 millimeters, and sometimes you'll find that that's just not it's not sufficient. Um, I'd say the next gun is an upgrade, but only slightly. You can make arguments as to why you'd want to use this, but whatever. It's a pretty slow tank, so with only 290 horsepower, this tank is pretty slow, especially considering it weighs 30 tons. Um, that gives it a specific power of 9.76, and that's just not, you're not going to shift around a lot. Traverse speed, though, 30 degrees of traverse speed, it can shift. Um, yeah, I enjoy this tank. This tank's fun, but it's not going to be like the heavy armor you get from tier 5 onwards in this line. So just be prepared. This tank I only find acceptable, and that's with full skilled crew and everything maxed out, even modules. I bothered putting equipment modules on this tank at tier 4 just to get the most out of it that I could. Um, yeah. The trick to this tank, guys, is you're going to be using the HE rounds a majority of the time. Um, just knowledge of what you're shooting at and how much armor it has. I just spam HE for most of the stuff, and if it's a little bit harder, like an M4, I'll switch over to AP or Heat. Uh, But otherwise, you know, tier 4 and down, this tank's pretty, it's a force to be reckoned with. It's not a brawling tank. You don't if people are shooting at you, you're playing it wrong. You want to be popping people from the sides when they're not looking. So I wouldn't be making any pushes in this tank. I wouldn't be leading the charge if I were you guys. So just keep that in mind. With all that said, we'll move into some gameplay for you guys to watch. Alright guys, so this is what I've been seeing a lot of getting into tier 4 matches. I don't think I've seen tier 6 in this tank yet. I don't know if that's how it's supposed to be or if the matchmaking's just been really good because a lot more people play tier 4 and 5 tanks, but who knows. This is about as good as it can get matchmaking wise. The map leaves something to be desired. It kind of forces us to, well, you know, play straight up with other tanks. But we'll see if we can make it work. The only tanks I've really got to look out for are the Hetzers and the Matildas. I can't penetrate the Matildas easily. I'll have to use gold. And the Hetzers can probably one-shot me. Otherwise, it should be a pretty good game. We'll find out. One thing to note about the gun is that it has a huge arc. So it's not a very accurate gun. At 0.4 accuracy, it wasn't that great to begin with, but with the arc, it has a slow travel time, so I don't know. Something to keep in mind. Okay, so we got a Suicide Lux. This is a pretty big tank. It's not gargantuan in the same sense that some of the other higher tier tanks are, but you know, it's still pretty big. It's got a pretty decent sized profile. Great gun depression though. I forgot to mention that. It's got really good gun depression. Alright, that paid off, despite it being super risky. Let's see if I can take care of this Panzer 1C before he gets away. Yeah, you'll find that module damage is pretty common in this tank too, and that's just natural, given the fact that its armor is so questionable. Now I want to, you know, obviously if you guys are any decent at this game, you'll notice I'm playing kind of ballsy right now. That's just because, you know, it's tier 4. You want to have some fun. Now, enemy Type 95s are some of the biggest problems you got to deal with. If they use their HE, if they know better, then you'll find that 430 hit points just, it doesn't last long when you're getting hit by HE like that. The frickin' Bart over there. So that's unfortunate. But that isn't. We'll see if he wants to play ball. Nope, he's smarter. Oh boy. And this might be it for me. And I got really lucky just now. And unlucky at the same time. So now I'm getting crossfired. This is pretty dire right now. And wow, luck is on my side today. And no, it's not. That's so terrible. Yeah, so not bad for just a random game. I got 800 damage, the top gun. As you can see, guys, this gun is lacking in some ways. I shot HE at that Hetzer. I shot AP. That's 70 millimeters of pen. The Hetzer's a tough little tank sometimes, I guess. I should have been shooting gold if I wanted to live. But, you know, it was looking pretty dire no matter what. With 2 Matildas and a Covenant, it would have been tricky at best. But oh well. It is what it is. On to another game. Real quick, guys, I forgot right before we jump into the next game, I want to look at the after game results. So, yeah, a whole lot of ribbons here. First class mastery, or first class badge, Top Gun. Yeah, I did better than everyone. So, you know, it's not, it's not a bad tank. But I don't think the tank is I think I'm just playing better than, it's tier 4, guys. So a lot of the people playing, they're just not going to be that great. Um, I think my knowledge of the map is carrying me more than the tank is, but the tank's acceptable. With its rate of fire, it can pump out some good damage, so. But, yeah. On to the next one. Okay, guys, so we're back here, and this is an example of slightly worse matchmaking. This isn't dire. You can, believe it or not, you can penetrate the OI experimentals. Your gold rounds have more pen than at least their turrets. I know their turrets have about 70 millimeters of armor, so. But, holy crap, yeah, it's a huge tank. Yeah, guys, like I said, this isn't a push tank. If you're pushing in this tank, you're doing it wrong. So we're going to be staying back here. Call me a camper if you want to. I just don't like dying right away. I find that the longer you can last in a match while still contributing, the higher your chances of winning are going to be. Wow. The OI experimental got him. That's going to be a fun tank to play. A ginormous, huge, armored behemoth tank. Wow, they just straight out beat us getting there, didn't they? It's okay. Yeah. I don't think they're going to last very long. Oh, yeah. At tier 4, being able to do 175 alpha with the HE, it's really, it can be devastating. To the enemy team, that is. So, this spot isn't, what I should have done was move up to where that Bart over there was. But I just wanted to play it safe for the sake of the review. I don't know. So far, things are... I'd say we have the advantage right now. Maybe not. Definitely not now. It's amazing how quickly things can change sometimes. We're just going to have to try and make do with what we got. I'm going to switch over to Heat now. If I can kill that OI, that would be really good for us. And I died. Notice, guys, how quickly I just died there. It was 1-2. I guess the OIs have some sort of derp gun, because that's the only thing that explains me dying as quickly as I did. But yeah, these 2 games is a sum up of what you'll be experiencing. So if you're a decent, competent player, probably about half the games, I'd say. And this experience it's lined up with most of the games I've played. About half the games you'll play, you'll do pretty decent, even great. But fairly often also you'll find that you'll just die. Uh, Now, I thought it was a smart move to push up. I felt like we had pretty good grasp of the hill, but in reality, that was a bad decision. What did I say earlier? This is a terrible push tank. This tank isn't a push tank. And I thought I'd have cover from the teammates. I thought that, maybe they'd be distracted. I could get some good side shots, but next thing I know, I got derped by the OI experimental and then finished off by someone over there. So should have stayed back. Could be getting good. Could have killed that cruiser on the hill. I could be getting good shots on the T-14. Could have killed the T-46. A lot of things could have happened if I just didn't lose my patience there. But, World of Tanks. So yeah, guys, that's the Type 95 Heavy in a nutshell. A good gun. A fairly decent gun at Tier 4 with 70 millimeters of average penetration on its AP shells, 100 on its heat, and 38 on its HE. Mind you, 38 penetration is sufficient at Tier 4 games. So if you're at top tier, that HE is quite good. It's not a very fast tank, but it's not slow. Its armor is terrible. This is a pretty big tank. You saw in the replays, I'm almost as big as a T1 Heavy. And with hardly any armor. So HE will mess me up. The OI did like, what? 200, 300 damage to me in one shot. I'm curious, actually. I'm just going to real quickly look at his... what does he got? Probably wasn't even HE. I didn't realize the OI had a 300 alpha damage gun. Interesting. Well, I think the OI is going to be a pretty fun tank to play. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that review. Leave me a like or a dislike, depending on what you thought of the video. Please comment. Give me criticism. I'd like to know how I can make these videos better for you guys. Plan on making a lot of these from now on, so any criticism is welcome, so long as it actually makes sense. Otherwise, subscribe, like or dislike, whatever. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.